Hello everybody. I don't get much opportunity to
first floor.
make any videos in quiet and peace with my daughter. She's very active and just very demanding at this age. And so I don't have the opportunity to make videos. Today's video, however, I hope you appreciate. This video is a story of something that happened to me during the days, this interim period, from whence I left the Navy and I joined MAJestic to the time when I was reestablished back at the Navy and I did my training or calibration for the ELF probes. And it took place in the middle of the 1980s. I can't remember the exact year, but it was sometime between 1983 and 1986. And in that time, I was working various jobs that we could afford. Yeah. So what we ended up doing at that time, I was married, and we were doing miscellaneous work and traveling the country trying to find better work. It was kind of hard. The whole country was in a state of depression. And at that time, we were living in North Carolina, and we had friends, and we would stay at their place in Yanceyville. I was working, doing some manufacturing of granola bars in a place called Mebane, North Carolina. Whatever. The point was that we were just living life, and I had no recollection of joining MAJestic or anything like that. I had no recollection of any of that. And so one day, I just had this urge to drive something like 6 hours to the beach. And my wife says, yeah, let's do it. And we just drove to the beach. We just told our friends we're leaving, and we just went to the beach. 6-hour drive over. And when we went to the beach, we arrived, and it was overcast and dark, and it was like 7 o'clock at night. But drove to one specific location at the beach, and there was this beach changing house there, and there was nobody around. I mean, there was absolutely, positively no one around. Nobody was around. And so we went to that beach, and we drove our van, we parked it, and out of this beach house, or this changing house, was a man and a woman about our age. There's no cars, nothing else there. Just this lone, dark beach house in the middle of this just gloomy nowhere. And the guy walked up to me and introduced his wife, or the woman he was with, and she went over to the van to talk to my wife. And then he says, come with me, and we walked back to the beach house. And then we walked back to the car and drove 6 miles, or 6-hour drive back to Mebane. And when we got out of the car, we didn't speak to my wife at all the whole time. We were driving at night. It's just like time was just really eerie. And then when we got back and we drove back to where we were, my wife says, you know, that was really strange, wasn't that? And I says, yeah, it was really strange. So what did happen? What actually did happen? What actually happened? Well, when I went to the ADC and my memories came back, I can tell you what happened. That beach house, we entered in the door, it looked like a regular beach house, changing room area, and it opened up into this large, sort of like a large entranceway in a hospital, if you can imagine that, an entranceway in a hospital, except it wasn't a hospital. It was like a big living, it looked like a big living room, is what it looked like. It looked like an enormous living room the size of a hospital lobby. You could hear some announcements in the speakers overhead, which I couldn't tell you what they were saying. And it was just this impression that I had. And the man I was with, he led me to the couch and told me to sit down. And so I sat down, and he got up for a while and just left me sitting there, and I just sat there. And then the woman he was with came with what seemed like a nurse, and they came over, and the nurse explained things to me, which I have no recollection of what she explained to me. And then she took a box. It was sort of like the size of a shoebox, only about half as big. So it was like seriously a square box. And she took that box, and then she took something and she touched my skin with it. Wanted to see my arm, and like touched my skin with it very slightly, and I was inside the box and my body was outside the box. And that went on for a couple of hours. I was inside this box. And then I was back in my body, out of the box. And the guy I was with another woman, a fourth woman, I guess, came on over, and we walked outside of this facility. I said goodbye to the nurse, or she said goodbye to me, and I walked out. And we walked out, and suddenly we're back in North Carolina. And I go to the van, and my wife is talking to the wife of this guy, or the girlfriend of this guy. And we hopped in the car and drove away. As far as I know, this was the only hardware upgrade that I had to my body. I've mentioned my software upgrades where my non-physical bodies were altered, but this is the only one where my physical body was altered. My gut feeling, and I can't validate it, but I think it's just a really strong feeling. I'll just say it. It's just a strong feeling. I just have this feeling. Maybe it was something. Anyways, people, the only thing that I can talk about is that I have a strong idea that my body had collected some kind of illness or virus, whether it's cancer or AIDS or HIV or something. I had some kind of impurity that was altering my body and that it needed to be corrected. And that's the strong feeling that I had. And so this was changed, and I went back to a better body. This is the only recollection that I have concerning this, and I'll call it a hardware upgrade as opposed to a software upgrade. I've talked about how my non-physical bodies, my software, was upgraded, and this is the only hardware, which my physical body is upgraded. So what does this mean? And what's the point of this little video? Well, the point of this little video is that there's a lot of people out there that are talking about they've had missing time, and then they're trying to piece together what might have happened because they don't recall the memories. And our fears are always telling us that it's something bad, because if it was something good, we would know our memories. That is not necessarily the case. It's been my experience over and over, and my discussions with other people, that many times we don't remember things for our own protection. And we have to take that into account. So instead of thinking that not remembering things is a bad thing, think of it as something that might be positive. So if you say, I have unaccounted for time and other people are laughing, don't think that it's something bad, and don't listen to the naysayers. There's good reasons why you don't